Hi everyone, this is Selvi. Today's interview question is: what happens after the closure of a spike? So, we always talk about how to plan a spike, what are the things that we consider as a spike, what exactly happens after we close a spike. First of all, spike is performed as a time bound activity. In some teams, we may plan a spike for the entire sprint, or some places, most of the situations, we just go for a week time. So because spike is something, we don't have a defined scope, right? We are looking for a scope, we don't have the complete clarity, we have multiple options, we can explore for so much of time, but we need to somewhere stick to a boundary and complete the work within that specific amount of time. That's the reason we always keep this spike as a time bound activity. So now we have planned a spike, we worked on a spike. At the end of that time period, maybe a week, maybe a sprint, we review the spike outcome document. What is this spike outcome document? Spike outcome document is not going to be a technical document. It is going to be a document which is actually explained in very simple English, the details of what has been taken care in the spike, what are the options that we have explored, what are the details that we came up with, maybe a prototype, maybe a technical feasibility study of certain options. What are those things we have done? We are going to put in a very simple language so that any stakeholder can understand that. This is not at all a technical document. Anyone who is going to read that, first they are going to understand what is the problem statement. Problem statement may be, for example, I'm going to give some typical scenarios. Maybe you have multiple options and you are figuring out the best suitable option. We are not so clear about the problem statement itself, which means we are not so clear about what is the requirement we are trying to solve, because we have a lot of uh, questions on that. We need more clarity, but somewhere we need to start. So we started as a spike, we wanted to start as a spike, and we have done that. So now after doing this, we got a lot of clarity on how to proceed further. Next option, next use case may be something like, we want to just prepare a prototype or create a prototype so that we can review that and plan whether it is the real solution that we look for or not. Because till we don't see that, we are not so sure what exactly we are going to fix or what we are really going to solve with what solution. But how the prototype will get generated, we need to invest some time. That's why we have started as a spike and we got a prototype, and now the prototype is going to help us to understand what exactly the whole solution is going to look like. So these are different use cases where we go for a spike. Okay, now any of these situations happened in the project and team picked a spike, and we prepared a document also. So when I say we prepared a document, this document is a non-technical document which is written in a very plain, simple language. Any stakeholder can understand, because we want to ensure that it is actually a document that is going to help any person who is going to read that. So the first section is going to talk about what is the problem statement we have picked up, and what are the options or what are the opportunities that we have explored, and what is the solution, and how we achieved or how we arrived that this is the solution that is going to help, and what are the pros and cons, and what are the challenges if you want to implement it, any kind of dependencies that we have. So all these things that we are going to write in this document, and usually it is very important to have a spike outcome template so that everyone follows the same kind of template, so that it is very easy for anyone also to follow the flow. So now the document is also available. The document is going to be reviewed with certain set of people. When I say certain set of people, this set may change, depends on the problem what we have taken. It's not necessary you need to call each and every stakeholder to explain this. For example, you have 3 to 4 options. Let's take a very simple scenario. So we are trying to implement the search functionality. So we have multiple options. So one is pagination, where we can display the search result, and another one is we want to have lazy loading. So we have 2 of these options, and team is not so sure what to implement with. So they have done a prototype and they have given a small demo to certain set of people. So this demo, product people participate, technical team participate, entire Scrum team is available over there. So that now the document also we are going to review, so that we are going to say what are the advantages if we use pagination, what are the disadvantages if we use pagination, what are the advantages if we use lazy loading, and what are the disadvantages if we use lazy loading. These all things we are going to discuss over there. So these all things are already captured in the document, because when preparing this prototype, when creating this prototype, these all things have been taken care. So now this group is going to come with a kind of solution. Hey, it seems to be a good option to go with lazy loading, because we no need to pull all the data at a shot, and we are not giving any kind of paging options for people to click. Rather, we are just going to move from top to bottom. The search results are going to populate then and there. So this seems to be a great option for our customers. So now, what are the advantages and disadvantages? It's not about like what is actually from UI point of view, what is looking good. That's not the whole criteria, right? It is very important that we should also think from the technical point of view. What are the advantages and disadvantages this solution is going to bring? So now we have discussed all these things. That's the reason I said that we have technical team, we have the Scrum team, we have the product team. So this stakeholder, you can also include some more people. For example, if you want to call out something specific in your documentation, so it's better to involve your documentation team also, so that you are explaining why you have done this kind of approach and what exactly should be added as an observation or known issue in the document. It is very important in certain cases, like when we have UI changes, or when we are discussing something as a prototype related to UI, it is very important that we invite the design team as well. The reason is, I'll explain why design team is important. So now these all people are aware that this is taken care. When this meeting can happen, do we need to wait till the sprint review exactly? No, it's not necessary, because maybe the time bound activity for a spike is actually 5 days, maybe 5 working days, just a week time. So that's the time frame that we have given for spike activity to close. So after that, the author can explain this. Maybe after the daily stand-up meeting, we can gather as a group and involve additional people who are required, and go through this document and get into a conclusion. That is also feasible. And we can also plan a separate meeting to go through this document, or there is an option, share this document to the set of people who are the stakeholders, who are the participants of the meeting, and then if there are any questions, you can also explain as an author to them. So these are different options to share this information to the team and the right set of people. In addition, in sprint review, it is very important to call out that these spikes have been achieved, and these are the options that we have explored, and this is the solution we arrived at. It's not really necessary to go through the entire document, because sprint review is not about that, but it is also very important to explain what exactly we have resolved and what was the step that we have taken, which is going to help us to implement the solution in a right way in the upcoming sprint. So it is very important we explain that to our stakeholders, so that they are aware like what exactly the solution we are going to do. Maybe a prototype, if we have, we can also show that, so that it will give a lot of information to the stakeholders. So now spike is done. Now comes the question, hey, like after the closure of the spike, what exactly we are going to do? We have the document, we know what exactly we need to do. Yes, that is the whole idea we created the spike, right? We were not so sure what exactly we need to implement. Now we have the complete clarity what exactly we need to implement. So now in the upcoming sprint, we generally plan the user story, which is going to use this spike, what we have learned from the spike or what we have explored from through this spike. We are going to utilize that and implement that solution and deliver the actual business value through the user story in the upcoming sprint. That's the whole idea. So will it be in the immediate sprint? That depends on the priority from the product team. So in general, we always plan the implementation story in the immediate sprint. That's the reason we have planned the spike, right? So we will not keep that in shelf. We try to utilize that immediately. So what we do, as we are aware now that we have the spike outcome, product owner goes to the product backlog and add the relevant user story that is going to implement the actual business problem. Whatever the business problem we have, we are going to implement the solution for that business problem using this learning. So the story is going to be added by the product owner. And now as part of the refinement session, we can definitely touch upon that because we need to estimate that. But now we don't have questions on how we are going to implement it because we have already completed our spike. So team is completely clear on what exactly the solution is going to look like and what is the implementation method is going to look like. So now it's a kind of cakewalk for all of us as a team to give the estimation. So after this refinement, if any dependencies, any kind of risk that is blocking us to estimate, we will capture that. But if all good, then we are going to have the estimate and we will be planning that in the upcoming sprint if that is holding high priority. If in case there are multiple other work items that is actually in the queue with high priority, then this may stay in the product backlog for some more time. But the idea here is after the sprint closure, team is crystal clear about the option that they are going to implement, or they achieved already the clarity which was missing earlier. So the implementation story will be created in the upcoming sprint, mostly the very next sprint, so that we will be able to solve the business problem using the spike outcome or using the learning from the spike what we have done in the previous sprint. I hope this particular topic or episode helped most of you in understanding what exactly we do after the spike closure. Thank you everyone for listening. Happy learning and stay tuned.